Summit. When I was asked to moderate this panel, and I heard about the fantastic speakers that you're about to hear from, I was reminded of a debate that broke out in May of 2003. A famous journalist named Nicholas Carr had published a piece in Harvard Business Review titled, "IT Doesn't Matter." And everyone freaked out. The world sort of fell into two camps. The first camp, which I will sort of refer to as the Luddites, said, "You're right, Carr. The whole dot-com thing that we just went through was a fad. Technology doesn't make any difference to a company's performance. And haha, we were right. Propeller heads were wrong." And on the other side, they blasted Carr, saying, "What, are you kidding? How can you compare email to the post office or Amazon.com to the library and say that technology isn't the most important thing to a company?" And the problem was that no one had really read the article. And what the article was actually saying, and what Carr was arguing, is that technologies, whether it's railroads, electricity, or the internet, or the media relations technologies we're going to talk a little bit about today, provide a huge competitive advantage to people who are forward-looking and adopt them early. But that over time, as everybody starts to use them, they become invisible. They fade into the background and just become the normal way of doing business. And just by your attendance at this session today, I would submit that whether you've read Carr's piece or not, that you're embracing the spirit of what he said. That technology, if adopted early, can have a profound effect on the PR industry, on your company, and definitely on your own career. And that can mean doing everyday stuff like media relations, better, faster, cheaper. Or it can mean doing totally new things like having conversations with your customers or shareholders online and delivering ROI that no one else has ever been able to deliver before. And it's for all these reasons that I'm really excited about these speakers and the insights that they're going to reveal. If you're behind the technology curve, the things that you'll hear today will help you catch up. If you're even with your peers, they'll help you get ahead. And if you're ahead of the competition, they can help you get so far ahead that your competitors aren't going to be able to keep up. So kicking off today's discussion, we're going to hear from each of our panelists, and then we'll move into Q&A and take your questions. And just a quick introduction of each of the speakers, because we're just going to speak consecutively. We have our first speaker going to be Kevin McFall, who's the Vice President of Global Product Management at Cision, and he develops next-generation platforms and technologies that we all in this room use here, and he's leading the convergence of PR for professionals and journalists in new ways. Second, we'll have Steve Momorella, who's the owner of TEKgroup International. And he began his career in the internet 17 years ago, helping to build IBM's intranet. And he feels that the industry's greatest sin is holding back the stories that they have locked up in their filing cabinets. And our final speaker will be Yehuda. She's the Vice President of Products at MultiVu, a division of PR Newswire. And she leads and helps companies transition from speaking through traditional media, through video, to helping companies do that themselves. So please give a warm welcome for Steve.
Thanks, everybody. I'm just glad I can get this picture off the screen here. When I was asked to give this lecture, I spoke with Faye and Briggs, and I asked if I needed to include a lot of bells and whistles and really have really sexy slides, and they said absolutely not. These people just want facts. They just want the bullet points that they can take back with them. So with that in mind, I enlisted the help of my 6-year-old daughter in making these slides. But I think even though this is kind of a goofy slide, it really is a great example of what the corporate website was like just 5 years ago. Very locked down. There was no sharing involved. There was no interaction. And most importantly, as you mentioned, the corporate website of 2005 was maintained by the IT department. They had really a stranglehold on the website. You had to go through them to publish content. If you wanted to post a story, you probably had to go through the IT department. As you can see from this next slide, 5 years later, this has really changed. The corporate website of 2010 is wide open. And a lot of this is because of social media, but a lot of it is just because the IT department has lost a little bit of their stranglehold on the corporate website. So now when you want to publish a press release, you might go through PR Newswire. You might use someone like Cision for some of your business intelligence and media monitoring. You might use someone like a Thompson for the IR portion of your website. So the corporate website has really changed and become open. And I really think it's important that all of you take advantage of that kind of openness. So real quick, I want to talk about why this happened. First, internet-based tools have really improved. Not only more scalable, more reliable, more secure, but just they're easy. I mean, how many of you can create a blog and post a tweet, and you're able to do that very easily, very quickly. So these tools, even over the past 5 years, have just been made so easy. And I think we've gotten smarter too as a general public on how to use these tools. Secondly, the corporate website became decentralized from the recession. Really leading up to the recession and during the recession, IT departments have been way scaled down, and they're being asked, fewer people are being asked to do more. And so that's, I think, kind of helped this openness and this idea of this decentralized corporate website. Next is analytics. We're able to get results. I can go home, I can go to my office right now, post a press release, and within 5 minutes I can see how many people read it. 5 years ago, I would have to go to my IT department. They would tell me they're busy. I would get a report maybe 2 weeks later. So this idea of impactful results and instantaneous results is really one of the reasons that the corporate website has changed. And finally, as with all things business, outsourcing is in again. 10 years ago, I think outsourcing was a fad. Then everybody kind of brought stuff in, and IT departments got that stranglehold. And now outsourcing is certainly popular again. So what does this mean? And what does this mean for you as communicators, most importantly? You have more control now than I think you've ever had over your corporate website, over the news area or the online newsroom of your site. You have the ability to publish content immediately. You can take a picture on your iPhone. You can post it on your corporate website immediately. So you have so much more control, and it's really, I think, important to take advantage of it. Better usability, I talked a little bit about that. These tools are pretty easy to use now. 5 years ago, there wasn't things, WordPress was kind of just in the infancy, Facebook really wasn't around. These tools have just become incredibly flexible, incredibly easy to use. And the third thing is really choices. You don't just have to issue a press release over the wire. You can put that release out on a website or on a blog. You don't just have to use Facebook. You can use other tools. You don't just have to use your IT department. You can kind of take things in your own hands. You have a lot more choices. And really the final thing, which I would say really is the most important, is your audience has changed. Typically as a PR person or as a communicator, we've been doing online newsrooms for just about 13 years, and when we started, the newsroom was meant for the media. We wanted our clients to post a press release and then have a newspaper or a magazine or a TV station pick up that release and post it. Now, not only are we kind of bypassing those traditional channels, we're basically reaching everyone. So our audiences now are employees, they might be investors, analysts, clients, customers. Really, your audience has changed for who you're really reaching out with your kind of corporate news site. Wanted to talk a little bit too about how people are using the site. And before that, how do they get there? And I'm going to kind of start throwing out some numbers now, statistical numbers that hopefully you can take back with you. A recent survey from Pew Institute, 90% of people that come to your website are coming from Google. So they're going to Google, they're typing in your company name and the word news, or just maybe your company name or a product name, and that's how they're getting to your website. We recently did a study, a social media news study, and we found out that 75% of people that when they're on Twitter or Facebook or a blog or Dig or any of these social media channels, when they see news, the first thing that they're doing, they're going to the corporate website. So if they see a news story on Twitter, the first thing they're going to do is go find who's that company, and they're going to go to their corporate website. So those are pretty powerful numbers. 90% of people coming from Google, 75% of people that hear something on social media come to your website. And thirdly, I think is just kind of tongue-in-cheek, but people are coming. Over the past several years, we have seen an increase of our clients' traffic to their newsrooms.